Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you're doing well. Things are good. I'm out just taking a walk on a beautiful Tuesday morning. We've got low humidity, 68 degrees. It's just gorgeous this morning. And I was reading a devotion and hanging in this devotion for a minute from Galatians 5:1, where it says that Jesus has set you free, which is a beautiful statement. And I was like, maybe I can just kind of stop and hang in that statement for a moment. And then I continued on in the verse, and let me go over here. This is kind of nice. I continued on in the verse, and hey, let me show you guys. It's always nice to hang by a river in the morning. Anyway, I continued on in the verse, and it said, now Jesus has set you free, amazing. But then it said, be sure to stay free. And be sure that you don't don't get tied up in the law and in slavery. And I was thinking about that and thinking about like what that meant to those people back in the day. So this is Paul writing a letter to the Galatians and just walking them through all this. And this one particular verse probably stuck out even to them, where it says, hey, don't get trapped in the law, don't get trapped in slavery, which is a very real thing back then. But for us today in modern day, 2023, when I'm recording this, like slavery has a very different description. One of my kids has an internship in the city, and that's an amazing thing. And I drove him to the train station this morning, and I remember, so for those of you who don't know, before I went full-time in this ministry, I was working in New York City every day and commuting in and out of the city every day, and that was a form of slavery and bondage that I don't want to go back into. So not the job, the commute. And so I took him to the train station, and I looked at all the cars parked along the street and in the parking lot and all over the place, and all these people lined up on the train station. And I said, I remember those days, and I remember how hard it was to do that commute and be wrapped up in that. And then I was thinking a little further about like, this experience for him is great. It was great for me. It's a great experience just to kind of be in and around a big city like that and get involved in larger corporations and all that kind of stuff. But it's a form of bondage and a form of slavery. And I was just like, man, I'm not sure I could ever go back into that now that I've been kind of set free from the 9 to 5. And look, the 9 to 5 is what it is. A lot of us are in it. We love it. It's fine. We can use it as a tool to do what we need to do in life and all that kind of stuff. But then I was thinking a little further about slavery and about bondage and about what that means and what it looks like, and how, what are the things that you're in bondage to over the course of the day, right? So maybe you're in bondage to food, or maybe you're in bondage to, hold on, let me sneak down here and see if we can get a little closer to the river. Yeah, nice. Maybe you're in bondage to social media is a big one right now. It has been for a while. And I was watching the Apple presentation the other day, and they're introducing this new device, and I was like, man, I wonder if that's going to be another form of, slavery and bondage to a new type of technology. And believe me, I understand the irony of creating this devotion on something that I'm in bondage to, which is my iPhone. But anyway, I thought maybe today, just, as I came down here and I was just looking at the rhythm, actually just listening to the rhythm of this river, right? And the rhythm of nature and the rhythm of how God has put this all together, how these elements are not a part of the bondage that we're in every single day. And that thought kind of takes me back to the verse in Matthew where Jesus is talking about, hey, just look at the sparrows and how they are taken care of every day. How much more will your Father in heaven take care of you? And the bondage that we're in every day to our schedules, time, work, all of that stuff just kind of gets in the way. Good morning. And how it's so very important to just kind of stop and get into a place like this where we can be reminded of the beauty that God surrounds us with, and also the pace that he wants to surround us with. Or pace, but let's add one letter to that word, the peace that he wants to surround us with. And how often we get caught up in the busyness. For some reason, I've been falling into this conversation during my live shows over the last couple of weeks, and it's maybe because I'm in the middle of writing another book, and one chapter was on being honest with yourself and being honest with how you spend your time. And I wrote quite a bit on the idea of thinking about that thought of I am second. I love that campaign and that whole thing, but one of the thoughts that I was really getting into was, and one of the things that I was reading on this week and maybe last week, was this idea and this thought of where does God, sorry, I'm just trying to capture this in the way that I want to express it, but where does God fit in your priority list, right? As we go through our day and we have our to-do lists for the day, where does God fall into that to-do list? Is he there, is he first, or is he fourth or fifth? I've been trying to wake up in the morning, not look directly at this phone, but go into some type of meditation, prayer, devotion, whatever you want to call it, in the morning, to start the day with resting in the peace of God first, and then moving on to whatever's next. And that is a very, very hard thing. The lure, for me anyways, I don't know if this is the same for you guys, but the lure of getting up to date and seeing what's going on out in the world is very, very appealing. And so this morning I woke up and didn't look at it, took my kid to the train station, thought about that whole process and how enslaving that is sometimes, and I'm going to have a conversation with him a little bit later about that. But and then I came back, worked out, and then I said, you know what, before I jump into the day, let me go take a walk. And so I took my phone because I was listening to a podcast, and I stopped the podcast and I just started walking in silence. And then I tripped across this little river, and I was like, oh, this will be a great place to do a devotion, so let me just sit here for a minute and just talk about the peace of God in our lives. And so here we are. But maybe the whole point of this is just this, and maybe I'll kind of end with this, but where does God fit in your priority list for the day? Is he first? Are you seeking the peace of God in your daily walk with him? Because the craziness, the busyness, all of that can take over quickly. And I think God is calling us to just lean more and more into Him for the peace that we need every day, because if not, our stress levels are going to rise, and our stress levels are going to take over, and that's where the worry, the stress, the fear, the anxiety creeps in slowly and starts to take over in our everyday walk. And God is calling us first to lean on Him, draw from Him, draw our strength from Him, draw our peace from Him. I say this all the time, like, just take a minute and exhale and let God be in your life. So today, let God be in your life. Let Him be first in your walk, in your journey. And then we'll see where it goes from there. It's a beautiful thing. All right, today, go find a place like this. Go hang and just spend some time by a babbling brook, and just let it speak to you. Let the wind through the trees just speak to you. Let the birds, let God's creation move in your soul and in your mind. So beautiful. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to become a member, head over to joindaysband.com. Get involved in our membership and in our community where we seek Jesus every single day, and we save lives through our membership as well through child sponsorship. Get involved. There's over 400 or 500 hours of content in there now, and we want you to be with us. So join our community, head over to joindaysband.com. But today, let the peace of God just fill your heart, fill your soul. Alrighty? See you guys on the next one. Take care.